may disagree like they did in 2022, 2 years later, or 2.5 years later, they can agree. And once they agree in an ODM-UDA deal, appointments are made, like happened on Thursday last week. There were broad-based appointments that we saw 14 new principal secretaries, 7 new state departments, of course, coming at a cost. Senator Olekina, what is your reflection on this coming hot on the heels of that deal that you sort of presided at the KICC?
It was, for me, it was an expression of interest of the two political parties working together. Mm-hmm. We've been down the trenches. We all know where we've come from. We all know the challenges that we've been through. I know personally, because I permanently have a mark on one of my discs, which is dislocated because of the injuries that I got during the Bomas fracas. So really, we have been bickering. We have been throwing daggers at each other. I think it's about time that we think about this country and we look at what we can do within the 2.5 years so that we change the trajectory. Mm. We focus on development. We build. So if you're asking me about the appointments which were made, yep, it is a prerogative of the man on the hill to be able to decide who he should be able to bring into his cabinet. You know, I was elected by the people. Which hill?
Capitol Hill or State House?
State House, you know.
But some of these names are affiliated.
It doesn't matter. It is still his own prerogative. Did you see Raila Amolo Odinga's signature there? It was signed by Felix Koskei, who is what? Is the Secretary Chief of Staff.
Head of Public
So
Staff.
really, if you ask me where we are, I think we waste so much time trying to poke holes into every single expression of interest of, you know, any agreement, instead of saying, can we stop this electioneering mood every single time that we have, you know, 5 years into an, you know, before even when we vote and we have a government that is supposed to serve for 5 years, you know very well that government is not going to go anywhere. So the best thing to do is to try to figure out what can we do to be able to build this country.
You didn't know this in 2023?
What do you mean I didn't know this in 2023?
That's what you needed to do. In 2023, there were demonstrations.
It wasn't my duty. I'm not the president of Kenya. If I was the president of Kenya, maybe I would have done things differently. What I'm saying is that we've had a big problem in this country. Finally, when two political parties, one, the largest political party in East and Central Africa, ODM, decided to work with UDA, those two individuals saw it fit to be able to take this country into greater heights, you know, so that we don't have to be every single day just competing in terms of, you know, this one is greater than the other one, you know, arguing. Yep. What is happening? Let me tell you what is happening. And this is why I made my decision that I now have to really follow what Raila has said fully, is that when you look at the budget, and my brother Mbui here will tell you, when you look at the budget, if you do not scrutinize that budget properly, because you are busy fighting outside there, your people will end up losing. I'll give you a very practical example, which I said no the other day, last week too. We had the budget policy statement. And when you look at the budget policy statement, yep, there was a presidential directive in terms of hospitals to be built in Kenya, you know. And I was livid to see that in that list, there were almost 700 million, actually 700 million out of 990 million, which was earmarked for just Uasin Gishu County, to build 3 hospitals, sub-county hospital. One was proposed to be budgeted for 500 million. The other one was 100 million, and the other one 100 million. If you now go to Turkana or even Marigat, you'll find that they have only been given 20 million and 20 million. When we spend so much time fighting outside...
You said this was a presidential directive?
Yes, it was a presidential directive.
Contained in what?
In the budget policy statement. It was, I sit in the health committee of the Senate. We had the Minister for Health appear before us so that we can be able to go through and understand their priorities. So what I realize myself is that the more I sit out there and fight, the more my people suffer, okay? Because in that list, out of 990 million shillings earmarked for hospitals, Narok County was not there. So I want Narok County to have. Kajiado County was not there. So when we keep on fighting and not speak in one voice, we lose.
Okay. Mheshimiwa Mbui, what do you make of these appointments? I don't know why Geoffrey Wandeto, you're so thrilled.
Sam, I have said this and I'll say it again.
Yep.
We've been taken through some circus and told that this is a matter of uniting the country. I'm happy when I hear the senator here castigate the lopsided attempt at giving more money to us in Gishu. Maybe the intention was to have ODM join and then keep quiet so that this can continue. And I'm happy ODM is not asleep. But when we keep being told that this is about unity, uniting the country, I find it strange because when Raila and Ruto meet, it is called unity. And it is branded unity, and the headlines will say unity. But when Kalonzo meets with Rigathi Gachagua and Wamalwa and even Senator Onyonka, who came to represent Matiang'i, then when a photo is taken, suddenly this is tribalism. And it's the same thing that's happening even in these appointments.
Yep.
I will talk about Mount Kenya South, where I come from. We had 2 cabinet secretaries in this regime. Now we have only one.
Wait a minute. You come from Mount Kenya South?
Mount Kenya South, yes.
What is all
Mount
that?
Kenya South.
What is that?
I'm
from Mount Kenya South.
I'm from Mount Kenya South. From Machakos County.
He's trying to...
So now
the whole of Ukambani, Sam, is actually called Mount Kenya South.
We are south of Mount Kenya.
These 2 guys are Wakambas, eh? They are just trying to woo the Mount Kenya votes. Listen, let's focus on things of building the country.
That's exactly what I'm doing. So now we had 2 cabinet secretaries. Now we have 1. The northern part of Nyanza had, I think, 1 or 2. Now suddenly they have a lot more.
Yeah.
Now, is that what we call unity? I mean, the minute you talk about one region getting more slots than another, is that what this thing is about? Is that what this broad-based arrangement is all about? Mm-hmm. So I think, in my opinion, we are being led down a narrow path so that we can concentrate there. But the real intention is for people to position themselves for 2027 to capture political power again. And I think that's what is really happening in this country. We are being told that we are uniting people, but the intention, and I can say this, that if you look at all the actions of the head of state, there is nothing he is doing to improve the fortunes of Kenyans. Everything he's doing is about himself. He's focusing on 2027. He's interested in being re-elected, and that is why you never find him in the office. All the photographs you see, in fact, you're running out of photos of the president in office. The photographs of the president that you have now is on top of a 4-wheel Guzzler, talking to people outside some place in the city of Nairobi.
Honestly, Mheshimiwa Mbui,
no, that's not. Let me just...
That is the truth.
Have I not seen pictures of the president walking from State House?
Sam, we pay the president to stay in State House. Look at Article 131 and 132. It talks about the functions of the president. He spends more time campaigning out there than he spends in the office running the government. That is a reality. He spends more time. A lot of the time, almost all the comments I hear the president make, he's making them when it's outside there, not on a written speech in the public. I mean, in the office that he has been given by Kenyans. So unfortunately, the whole of these arrangements, these appointments, all of this is self-preservation for 2027.
Okay.
Nothing about all these things is to do with Kenyans and the common man. And let me tell you the reason I'm saying this is that even the origin was a minute when the young people, the Kenyans that this country belongs to, when they came out in large numbers to the streets and said enough is enough and the political class will not continue messing up the country. The minute that happened, the unity was formed. Okay. Unity of politicians against the youth.
All right, and we'll be looking at the opinion pieces on pages 13 of the Daily Nation and page
you'll allow me to respond.
Of the yes, you will. Page 12 of the Standard, and there's an interesting story on page 13 of the Daily Nation. Raila, Ruto packed an ethnic rejoinder. They are saying that youth have continued to volubly express their displeasure with the president and Raila at public meetings. It's Komchetsi Makoha writing. Also, it's fascinating that you now have a new region called Mount Kenya South.
Very interesting.
You'll tell us, you'll unpack that for us, because I've not had that before, apart from when you're talking about perhaps the SEK Church, which has, is it regions or dioceses in that category?
Diocese, yeah.
Mheshimiwa Wandeto,
yes, please.
So these principal secretaries, the nominees that you see, what do you think it's geared towards? And are you seeing names that are really going to help the president deliver on the manifesto?
Sam, first of all, it's good we deal with the cost of these additional principal secretaries. There are 7 in number. Officially, they'll tell you it costs about 7-8 million to sustain one PS. The official figure is that would be anything between 50 and 100 million a year. Okay, when you look at the allowances, you look at the travel, because all these PSs can tell you immediately they will be all over the world. Okay, most of them have been out there in the political cold, and now it will be their time to move around and go to every little conference around every corner. So it's going to cost us anything between 50 and 100 million per person. So this is another 700 million added, you know, just in a government that says it has no money, you know, in a country where we are saying we are struggling with healthcare and things like that. But moving on, you know, from that.
Sorry, back to the cost of 50 to 100 million. How are you calculating that?
So I'm looking at it from salaries.
The salary is 792,000.
Allowances.
The allowances are how much?
You have a bodyguard or 2 bodyguards, driver. We get them a new Prado, all of them. If you see any of the new model Prados, they are all government and they are all owned by, they are all being driven by PSs. They will get, I think, a 30 million mortgage. 35. 35. There will be a 10 million medical cover.
That's a loan.
Yeah, it's a loan, but it would have gone to buy medicine. Okay, but we are giving it to them temporarily. Then they pay it slowly. Okay, there will be, of course, the travel. The travel is actually local travel, accommodation, subsistence, international travel. The truth sum, you know, it's an expensive.
The is 50 to 100.
All I'm trying to say is that maintaining a PS is not a cheap affair. It's anything between 50 and 100 million shillings a year. But we should actually be discussing reducing the number of state departments. I am actually told there's an IMF recommendation to take them to 40. Okay, now we are at 57. Okay, and these are some of the things that are making us be at loggerhead with IMF over some of these funding agreements. But the more important thing is this is the third reconfiguration of President William Ruto's government since June 25th, the third one. And this does not speak very nice things. It shows a level of instability. It shows that we have not settled the country to start working. The second one is that, again, this is an attempt to take back the country into what I would call default settings, especially in terms of ethnic mobilization of our politics. Actually, what they are calling unity is the exact opposite. What we have realized is that the Mount Kenya vote, including the Mount Kenya West, Mount Kenya South vote, has bolted. That horse has bolted. And to now mobilize Kenyans ethnically, we have to bring especially the Luo nation. Lendama and his group, to be honest, I mean, I say this with a lot of respect, they actually flower girls and page boys in this arrangement. Let's be honest. Okay? We know where the real deal is, where the numbers are. The numbers are for Luo Nyanza.
Flower girls.
And those are the ones that are being chased. So this is a serious attempt, again, to reconfigure, to take the country back to ethnic mobilization in readiness for 2027. The third one, it is to also give an opportunity to a few more people to extract rent in terms of corrupt deals, so that they can ready their war chest for 2027.
Who are those people?
Just the people who have been added on all sides. Have you heard people saying power is sweet? Now we are at the table. Now is our turn. Now we are now we are okay. Why are people celebrating when one of their own is made as a PS or a CS? So okay,
you say that they're here to rent seek and also to collect rent and benefit from corrupt deals. What does that say about those people that have been in there?
That's why some are finding the same names. Occasionally, same names getting... It's part of the recycling. People are being given an opportunity because some of these people are supposed to run as governors, as senators, as MPs, as whatever. And others are also supposed to be financially strong to support 2027.
I'm asking those people, because these are not the first principal secretaries to ever serve or to ever be nominated. There are principal secretaries that are serving. There are cabinet secretaries who've been serving, including some that come from your region. Does that mean that's what they've been doing?
Sam, I will not answer that question.
Why?
For you, because you are a Kenyan.
I'm asking you.
And you know as much as I do.
People go to government for corruption.
As much as I do that corruption is a serious issue in this country.
And that's what...
And a lot of people are actually... The reason why people fight for these positions is so they have an opportunity to go and loot. Others will not be discussing corruption here. Who is spearheading corruption in this country, if not the leaders? But finally, Sam, to move on from that, my fourth item is that this one is an attempt to decommission the Gen Z movement. There has been serious dismantling of the Gen Z movement since it happened on June 25th, and this one continues. And one of the things you are going to see now is that they may start picking a few. You've seen some of these Gen Z people have been, I don't know, one of them is, I don't know, youth leader for the youth wing leader for this, youth wing, and because this is the movement that worried the government most, okay? And this movement somehow needs to be decommissioned at all costs. Lastly, the Mount Kenya vote, which was very, very critical in terms of propping this government. And it's the one that propelled President William Ruto to power through a 47% contribution. So 47% is gone. And of course, we also have very many angry Kenyans, whether they come from even his own backyard, who possibly in 2027 are saying, based on what we have experienced, we are not going that route again. So there is a serious realignment of political mathematics going on. And I can tell you, this may not be the last reconfiguration we are seeing. There will be very, very many others.
Can I just respond a little bit?
Just a moment. Assuming that is true, is there a problem with that?
Well, politics about mobilization. The problem is, at what cost is it coming to the country? It is coming at a huge cost in terms of the taxpayers' money. It is coming at a huge cost in terms of misplaced priorities. Okay, it is coming at a huge cost in terms of the direction the country is taking. Now, we had a UDA manifesto, okay? Now we have a section of Azimio who have come. Now we don't even know what we are running. We don't even know what is our agenda. We don't even know where we are going. So we are completely lost. We had a 4-point agenda, a five-point agenda in terms of our manifesto. Now I don't know whether we are running the ODM manifesto. ODM seems to be...
Much more undertow.
Sorry?
Are you still keen on it, the 5-point agenda?
Of course, I'm a member of UDA. I want to see the UDA government succeed. We have been hijacked by these guys.
Now, can I, listen, let me respond to a couple of things. Because I want to remain objective and really focus on the issues that are being asked here. Number one, I want to correct my brother Mbui. When he argued that the president should be sitting in State House so that we can see him working, the same constitution that he quoted actually states very clearly. If you read 1E, 131(1)(e), it says the president is a symbol of national unity. You know where we've come from. This country has been divided. It behooves him to go out there and unite the country. That is number one. 2C, promotes and enhances the unity of the nation. You know, it is his responsibility to go out there and promote the unity of the nation. If we are fighting, pulling each other left, right, and center. Secondly, let me respond to another thing that my brother here said. You know, my brother, for over the last 2 decades, they have been enjoying. Some of us, and I'm very thankful to my party ODM for teaching me a lesson. Now, it is upon me to unite all the Masais, because we've been out of government. We've been terrorized. We've been stigmatized. You know, we have been, you know, what do you call it? We have been thrown out in the trenches. No services coming to our side. Now, all of us must speak one volume. Because the votes that the Kamba have is the same vote that the Masais have. Okay? If you take the Masais from Samburu, from Marsabit, from Baringo, from Narok, and from Tanzania, not Tanzania, but from Kajiado, you bring them all together, we have more votes. We have more votes than these guys and these guys. So it is now upon us to be able also to benefit. And I thank His Excellency Raila Amolo Odinga. We are not flower girls, but if you say we are flower girls, let me tell you, by 2027, you will be shocked. We will be speaking one voice, in one voice, and we will be able to demand our share as well. So right now, I will not do anything. I will not lament. I will support this government so that I can see fruits going into our people, so that our people can also have hospitals. You know, I told you, there's a hospital called Ziwa Sub-County Hospital in Uasin Gishu County. It has been proposed to be given 500 million. I will make sure it doesn't get the 500 million so that we can get a hospital in Kilgoris. We can get a hospital in Kajiado. There's another one called Tired Sub-County, 100 million. Another one called Kasese Sub-County, 100 million. That is 700 million out of the 990 million that is being said to be given by the presidential directive. So for me, my job is very simple now. For these 2.5 years, I want to bring all our people together so that we know what we want, not to continue bickering.
Senator, that's fine, but where does that take the country?
It takes the country to a point where everyone realizes their worth in this country. If you do not know your worth, if you do not know how much you contribute to this country. You know, these guys are now teaming up together saying, Mount Kenya South. My Kenya South, my foot. Even us. If they say Mount Kenya and Mount Kenya South, they have so many votes, they can be able to push us out. If it is that line that they are going to, even us, we are not stupid. We can also go along that line. We can unite our people. We stop fighting among ourselves so that we all form a unity. And change and bring change into this government.
Senator, I hear you.
Finally, let me respond to another issue. I'm responding to the issue this guy has made. Yeah. My colleague here said that this is an attempt to decommission the Gen Z movement. I totally disagree. Let me tell you, there's nothing you can do. You cannot kick this government out. You know, he's a lawyer. He's a lawmaker. He knows when a government has been elected, it's got 5 years. If the Gen Z want to be counted, in which I want them to be counted, what they should do is at the moment we open the voter registration exercise, go out there and register to vote. And then in 2027, exercise your right to elect a leader in this country and go elect a leader. But for the next 2 years, let me tell you, I have no time to beef about. I have no time to waste my time pointing fingers at people. I have time to make sure that I scrutinize that budget, to make sure that that budget takes care of everybody in this country.
You made a case against Ziwa Hospital in Uasin Gishu, and you're saying that to make sure that it doesn't receive the 500 million shilling.
Why should it get 500 million and I don't get anything?
Just hold on. Have you determined the need that had been identified? Because Kenyans in Uasin Gishu deserve services, don't they?
Kenyans in Uasin Gishu deserve services. Right. Listen to me. They deserve services 100%. And I support Kenyans in Uasin Gishu. But is it fair? Is it just that you give one hospital 500 million, you give another hospital 100 million, you give another hospital 100 million, then you go to Turkana. I'll give you the name. You go to Turkana. When you go to Turkana, you say, in Turkana, Lokwomosing Health Facility in Turkana East gets 20 million. Then you go to Baringo, you say Mukutani Health Center gets 20 million.
Which kit is that?
This is under the health. You know, the good thing about me, and I'll tell you this, when I sit in my committee, I don't just sit there like some of us who sit there like flower girls. Okay? You know, because they don't have this information. Let me tell you, I sit there and I scrutinize. Okay, this is under the Ministry of Health proposed budget. You know, so they say under the presidential directive, this is the list you are given. So my job as a lawmaker is to scrutinize. And this is what I want my brothers to do. Yeah. Instead of lamenting, instead of making noise, instead of saying I come from Mount Kenya South, you come from Mount Kenya South and when you look at this budget, there's nothing even that goes to Mount Kenya South. There's nothing called Mount Kenya South. The only thing which is in this proposed 990 million to build hospitals for the 2024-2025 financial year is what? Baringo. There is another one called Lurambi, Kwesero, Butula, Kasese, Tarbo, Soy, Sigor, Turkana South, Turkana East, Samburu North, Marakwet West, Baringo North. Where is Kajiado? Where is Narok? Those are the things that I want to do.
For him.
Okay. Let me tell you. So I will not join them in bickering. Right. I will I'll support the government and I'll demand my share.
You will support the government.
So that our people can be able to get it.
But Sam, just a quick rejoinder. You know, the UDA government, we had a plan on developing health across the entire nation, from Narok to Kajiado to the remotest corner of this country.
So if you had, where is it?
Hold on. So when Ledama here raises the issue of Ziwa having 500 million, it's because he does not understand our plan. So, and this is the challenges we are having. You know, the plan is, there's a proper plan on how to accelerate our healthcare. So he may not be an expert as to why 500 million was allocated here and maybe 20 million
it's a sub-county hospital.
It is based on some need.
Not quantum
but now,
physics.
This is a tragedy of hijackers.
It is.
Not understand
No. That's ridiculous. You cannot say it's a tragedy of hijackers. It is the issue of who matters the most. Okay?
Surely,
You know,
what are hijackers?
Come on. You know, he wanted.
I have one on my.
He wanted to be a flower girl to continue supporting.
I have one on my right.
Let me tell you, this unity of. Let me
I have hijacker on my right.
This is a very important thing.
Yeah.
This Orange Democratic Movement and UDA expression of interest to work together will make sure there is equity across the 47 counties. Because one, Raila is very, very focused on uniting this country. Even if you look at even the names which he proposed, they cut across the country. You know, there is from Western, there is from Nyanza, there is from Rift Valley, there is from Coast. Okay? This guy wants to see only Wasingishu and which county do you come from? Mount Kenya what?
From Nyeri County.
From Nyeri County. He just wants to see those things, and that is the only thing that matters to them. Let me tell you, these 2 years, it would be very stupid for anybody to sit down there.
What's your comment about the expansion of the executive? Because now we have 7 extra state departments.
See, my focus is one, my friend.
Yeah.
My focus is one. I'm going to scrutinize that budget. I am going to make sure. No, they made some very good changes.
Question.
Let me tell you.
7 new
there were, you know, and I'll be very honest with you. Sometimes the problem we have is that, and this is why I'm against this issue of folding certain entities or merging certain entities. Because sometimes the job is too much, to be honest with you. If you now tell me there's an entity, I can't remember the name, maybe Mbui will help me, which is being merged with Agricultural Finance Corporation, proposed to be merged with AFC, Agricultural Finance Corporation. Yet we've not looked at the books of both entities. It is imperative that we become realistic. We are over 55 million people in this country.
Yeah.
I don't subscribe to the school of thought that says, let's limit the numbers of state departments because we may never be able to get services to the people. The reason why we devolve resources in this country is because it was becoming very difficult for the center to be able to serve every part of this country. There was a lot of discrimination. So for me, if it was a wise decision that the two leaders made to be able to expand because they have been able to see the challenges that getting the services to the people, you know, people are going through.
You know, Senator, that's okay. But so there's a new department, National Government Coordination, under the Office of the Prime Cabinet Secretary. There is also Justice, Human Rights and Constitutional Affairs State Department under the Attorney General's Office. There's another one called Science, Research and Innovation under the Ministry of Education. There's one called Aviation and Aerospace Development under the Ministry of Transport.
Brilliant.
Special Programs State Department under the Ministry of Public Service. So in total, 7 of them.
Actually, if you look at each one of those and you try to really understand where we're going, I think the first one that you mentioned, National Government Coordination, is to ensure that there's no government wastage. So that if this department is handling a particular item, you know, and this department should not handle the same item or the same issue. It is like what Donald Trump started in the US, where he's looking at trying to ensure government efficiency. It's that simple. Then when you look at the other issue of the justice, if you look at the AG, and I think it's under Article 156, the AG has a right to designate certain powers to the Solicitor General. But in most cases, a lot of people say we're not able to get services. So why not create a State Department that can work sort of like as an ombudsperson, and the AG can actually be able to represent the people well. They go out there and meet up with the people. Yeah, now, when you look at science...
Sorry, the Office of the Attorney General is not a ministry.
It is not a ministry, but sometimes it is... the Attorney General advises the President, correct?
Yeah.
Now, why is he the legal advisor of the President? Because of issues that are affecting the country. Okay, I'll give you a very good one, an excellent one. We had a very serious issue to do with payment of councillors, a gratuity for the councillors, former councillors. Okay? In Parliament, we say, pass it. In the Senate, we say, pass it. The AG came back and said, there's no legal provision for me to be able to do that. I see it fit to set up a State Department that deals with that so that it can get to those councillors and try to find a way to explain to them properly before we have this tug of war. Okay. Now, number 3, the last one. Yeah. If you look at the science one, what did you call it? Science and what?
It is, let me just get it for you, the State Department for Science, Research and Innovation.
It is about time that Kenya, which is in an industrious nation now, be able to focus into the scientific realm, to be able to build science. Because when you just put it under the Ministry of Education...
You're telling me the PS Higher Education and Science Research is not able to do that?
No, it's not able. We are over... No, listen, my friend. We are over 56 million people now. Within the next few years, because these people are giving... No, these ones are no longer giving birth. But these Kambas, the Maasais are giving birth. Every other people...
This is ethnic profiling. Surely.
No, but you're not giving birth anymore. That's a fact. The truth of the matter is that because we are giving... Not to you. Not to you.
Are you suggesting our community... important or...
It's not important. That's not... You're actually now getting out of the point. I'm not withdrawing. I'm being factual. You know, compare the population growth. We are catching up. We are soon catching up.
Surely, Senator, we'll not go that direction that you want to take us.
I agree. You should.
Mheshimiwa Anita, I want to hear from you the prudence of creating new state departments. Like, you look at them. They are actually departments.
It should have been me, although you mentioned...
No, it's you.
Yeah. Thank you. You know, first and foremost, I sympathize with Senator Olekina, my very good friend, because, I mean, defending this government has even affected...
I'm not defending my friend. I'm not defending...
It's always been very well spoken.
I'm not defending the government.
I've heard him stammer quite a bit today, and that's not usual. You know, I think speech pattern might be affected by this government.
My friend, let me. No. I cannot allow that. Listen, Sam.
You get a chance to
I have a dental issue, so you cannot be able to say that. Wait. Do you want me to show you?
So today is... I think it was the... was Kenya Kwanza that was affecting.
No, it's my...
But anyway, you know, let me say this. Expansion of government always makes a cost of running government expensive. And of course, you know that at the end of the day, in order to support the expanded government, it means that we have to dig deeper into our pockets. And so I'm just saying that I hope as we're going into the next finance bill, there will not be any attempt to increase any taxation, because then we can clearly see where the money is going. If you're expanding government because you want to create offices for people, then Kenyans are definitely going to resist this. And I'm telling you, it won't be business as usual. Secondly, you know, this regime is the one regime that has consistently appointed PSs from the political class. If you look at all previous regimes, PSs were technocrats, serious people that were bureaucrats and people running government business. And then only the ministers would be the ones that come from the political class. Now you are seeing a lot of politicians being appointed to be PSs. That obviously means that the whole process is now a political process. It's self-survival, self-preservation, has nothing to do with service delivery. Because why is it that suddenly after the Gen Z uprising and after the rejection of the finance bill, suddenly the president sees that he needs to create more offices? Remember, there was an attempt to create offices of CASs that Uhuru had done. And the courts threw out that proposal. A lot of Kenyans, a lot of people had already been appointed by the current president to be CASs. But they were waiting for approval by the courts. The courts threw it out. So he's still looking for ways to ensure that all his cronies are still supported by government, which is not right, which is not fair. But then I want to just also say that Senator here has made a comment about the budget. And then he has implied that as we complain, we will not be able to scrutinize the budget. That is, there's nothing further from the truth than that. Because it is in the understanding of the risks that we are facing and the problems and the challenges Kenyans are facing that we scrutinize the budget. And I will tell him that the budget is actually a process of the National Assembly, not Senate. It is the job of the National Assembly to deal with the budget, and that is, the cycle has now started, we are dealing with it. And all these things that he's talking about, we will be able to unpack them, we'll be able to deal with them, we'll be able to sort them out, because at the end of the day, this thing of presidential directives is what has taken Kenya where we are. You remember after the last election, a lot of members of our coalition rushed to State House, and when they were asked, what are you doing there? This is our adversary, we are supposed to be dealing and we are supposed to be oversighting them. Okay. And they told us that they've gone there because they're looking for development projects. That's the same attitude I'm hearing here, that people, you know, we work together with the government, we can be able to share what is there. We will make those decisions as a National Assembly. We will make sure that projects are done across the country so that there is no favoritism. And this unity of politicians, Sam, I'm telling you, that is what gives the executive power, so that they can be able to run roughshod over the rest of us. All that is the reality. That is a fact. That the minute that all these bigwigs, political bigwigs, come together, then you give the executive power so that they can be able to put 500 million in a hospital in their place. And I'll tell you, we'll make noise here. ODM members will talk here. But when they get a call from their boss, they will shut up, and that hospital will still get the 500 million. Because they will not be able to say no. We will say no because we still remain the people's, loyal opposition. But finally, Sam, I'd made a comment about the president's tours earlier, and I saw Senator was very uncomfortable. I want to advise that as we go forward, let us reduce these tours that the president is doing around the country. It is not unifying the country. We've talked about the roles that he has. One of the things that he's doing which is wrong is every time he goes all over the place, people are left there, you know, wanton destruction takes place, people are robbed, you know. The youth that have been mobilized to attend those functions, they will only be paid for that one day, but the next day they're still unemployed. So we are creating a situation which makes the country ungovernable. Now I know there's an attempt to go to central Kenya. I don't know whether it is a positive thing to do. Maybe this is a time we should sit back, have cabinet meetings, meet with these technocrats and figure out how to make the fortunes of Kenyans better. But going out on a campaign trail is not helping the country.
All right. I want us to transition because we are closing shortly. The editorial page, on page 13 of the Daily Nation, you'll see an interesting editorial cartoon there. There looks to be a red carpet. There's a vehicle being driven by someone wearing a cap or a hat. Then there's some what looks like angry birds. I don't know. I don't know which birds these are. They're vultures. And there's some money. It looks like money being held by, or money flowing or something like that. And then there's a barrier, looks like a mountain.
The mountain, actually.
It's a mountain, yeah?
That's Mount Kenya.
Well, what do you make of that, Mheshimiwa Ndeto?
I think this editorial cartoon talks about, from my understanding, I think it talks about the president's visit to Mount Kenya. I think let me start by saying that...
What is the place of the vultures?
I'll try and explain. I may not be able to explain everything, but I can see some symbols. I can see the mountain. I can see red carpet. So those are...
So hold it.
Mountain, power symbols.
Yeah.
So I think Lendama can explain to us, maybe he will assist us, what the vultures are.
So hold it. Let's take a look.
I'm not from Mount Kenya, my friend. If you have vultures who want to...
Sorry, let's take a look at what is on page 12 of the Standard. There's another one. This looks like an impression of the president. Why am I developing cold feet? Behind him is what looks like the mountain. So combining those two, tell us about their cold feet in Mount Kenya, what are south for you?
Sam, first of all, of course, it's in the public domain that the president will be visiting Mount Kenya.
Is there a date now?
I'm not aware of one. I'm also picking it just like you from the papers, but I've heard it could be the first week of April. Let me say that we welcome the president because as the president of the Republic of Kenya, just like any other citizen, he has a right to visit any part of this country. Right. So that is guaranteed by the Constitution. Number two is to maybe just say that as he visits, he's probably going to be meeting people with a lot of questions. Unhappy people who will have a lot of questions for him. Yep. And maybe some of the questions, or maybe some of the things that he should be prepared to explain is obviously what the Mount Kenya people did wrong to him. so that even after giving him 37% of the vote and propelling him to leadership, he saw it fit to disenfranchise them in the manner that he has continued to disenfranchise them. The expulsion of the deputy president, the removal of MPs from powerful positions in parliament, and some of the very many of our people who continue to be removed or asked to leave their positions in government. But more importantly, the people will be asking him about the projects that he promised them. Quite a number of projects have stalled. If I talk about my own constituency of Tetu, we had the Ihide Donyonjero Road, which continues to be stuck. We have the Mau Lot 3 roads, which are really progressing at a snail speed. We have things that he had promised us, like a level 4 hospital and very many other things. So there will be a lot of questions about projects.
Will you be there?
I'll come to that, Sam. But one of the things we hope that the president will not do, one of the things that we hope the president will not do is that he is not going to commission projects that have already been commissioned, and he is not going to launch projects that are not complete. For example, the Keno Sagana Marua Road was already commissioned by President Uhuru Kenyatta, and it's not yet complete. So we wait until it's complete.
Commission means what?
Groundbreaking. Let me use the word groundbreaking versus commissioning. I think is when it's complete. I think that's the right one. So we hope there will be no these groundbreaking ceremonies of projects where groundbreaking has happened before, either by him or by someone else, and that we are also not going to be launching incomplete projects.
Isn't it? Yeah, or inspection.
That is okay. And lastly, Sam, we saw what we saw we saw the issues Boy was talking about, what we saw in Nairobi.
Yeah.
Okay. Where after the president leaves, people are being mugged, people are being harassed.
Yeah.
And we saw it yesterday. We saw the precursor to that yesterday. Yesterday, I attended ACK St. Peter's Cathedral in Nyeri, and we were inaugurating the third bishop of Mount Kenya West. And there were hired goons from Nairobi who came and they blocked us from leaving the cathedral. And they even stoned some vehicles. They even destroyed property. So we are fearing that he may come and then we find all these things happening. So, you know.
But he can come with beefed up security, isn't it, to protect the citizens?
Actually, we are really asking our people, be careful to go to those meetings. Probably don't carry your phone, don't carry a handbag, don't carry any money. But we really would hope that there will be beefed up security because we don't want our people to go through what we saw in Nairobi.
Now we are out of time. I want us to take a look quickly at the feedback that has come to us at Citizen TV Kenya. Sam Gituku, the hashtag uses Citizen Daybreak rather. Remy Butia is saying that politically the broad-based appointments approach is significant as it promotes inclusivity, national cohesion and representation of various communities in decision-making processes. That is Remy Butia. Babu Michael, you're saying that most appointments called late CSS, PSS and other government positions are always given to friends of that specific government. These recent broad-based appointments aren't different. They are made to make Raila feel comfortable in the KK government, nothing to do with unity. Agumba Steve, in order to serve in today's broad-based government, you have to subscribe and be lieutenant of either President Ruto or Raila. Without that, the gates of government will be only visible to you, but not accessible unless you develop thick skin like JB Muturi. How I wish Wanjiku was felt. Bob Otieno, you're saying that opposition side led by the Wiper Party shouldn't cry about reconstituting of IBC because they have been flower girls to Raila Odinga for the last 15 years. Whoa, a lot of flowers this morning. Peter Gesura, you're saying that Kenyans expect an individual who is firm in decision-making to be appointed as chairperson of IBC. And Masika, you're saying the Kenyan government's constant recycling of old men for critical roles makes it seem as if the country has no future. We must harness the intelligence, energy and innovation of young people. That's what you're saying. Then Franco Rinde, as Kenya prepares for the next IBC commissioners, the focus must be on independence, integrity and public trust. These officials will oversee elections that shape our nation's future. They must be free from political influence and committed to uphold democracy. And Dr. Chris Galgalo this morning, he says that, Honorable Lekina, please look at 3 departments in education, that is university, science, research, innovation, basic education. Who does research and innovation? Is it an institution or state departments of government? Researches are normally done by university institutions and not the offices in the departments. but also says that it stands to be corrected. Of course, the Education Ministry at the moment has also the TVET department, so 3 departments: basic education, higher education, and TVET. Now a new one has been added to deal with research and science issues. Thank you all. I have to thank you so much for making time for us. We're out of time. It's 8:04. Mheshimiwa Robert Mbui, Senator Ledamo Lekina, and Mheshimiwa...
He's very lucky that you're saying that time is out, because I wanted to educate him on the budget making process.
Okay, we'll do that next time.
He's a very...
We'll come back.
Please come back to the show. Senator, come back to the show. We'll have you next time.
But he needs to learn about the budget making process, because he doesn't know.
Please teach him after this show.
I will. Trust me. Right here.
Up next is Matters Sport Team Monday. Stay tuned for that.